Be it resolved that ABP determine the issue of who owns producers' proprietary information, the legality of releasing producers' information, and a thorough definitive legal means, Zone 7 and 8.
Moved by Ted Ford, Zone 7.
Okay, seconder. Brian Schomlack, Zone 8. Go ahead, Ted.
Yeah, as I said, this is a continuation of resolution number 19 from 2009 AGM. That resolution was passed with a strong majority at that time. This resolution, number 9, this year, was passed with a strong majority at our Zone 7 fall meetings, and it was passed in Zone 8 as well. The original resolution, going back to 19, was that ABP determined the issue of A, who owns producer proprietary information, and B, the legality of releasing producer information, and do that through definitive legal means. So it was felt in Zone 7 that the work on Resolution 19 is not complete and has not gone far enough. The progress on Resolution 19 focused mainly on age verification, while the issue in question is proprietary information. Proprietary information is information about and belonging to the proprietor, and it's up to the owner of the information to decide if and when it will be released, whether or not it has economic value or not. It is about the potential loss of or theft of another person's property or right. While the concern is about proprietary information, age verification may be the tip of the iceberg. It's been stated by senior provincial bureaucrats in public meetings that when producers get used to mandatory age verification, it will be easier to move on to the next attribute and making that next attribute mandatory. It's also been said that the goal is to have animal movement and tracking to include pasture-to-pasture movement. It's the proverbial slippery slope. One little step that slips by leading to another, and pretty soon we'll be looking back and wondering how we got to where we are. It happens slowly and insidiously. Jeff Kroll of McDonald's Restaurants has said that full traceability is a brand necessity. Is it up to producers to pay for the billing of a brand name? If everyone has access to proprietary information, the value of that information gets passed to someone other than the original proprietor. That is wrong. The time to deal with this is now. If we don't take a strong stand now, we will be fighting every new erosion of personal and property rights, every new theft of proprietary information as they are imposed on us. Each new erosion will be more difficult to fight. We need to take that stand now. We need to stop that erosion now.
Okay, does the seconder wish to speak? Brian, he waves. Anyone in opposition to the resolution?
Madam Chairman, John Buckley, Zone 3. Last year this was brought before the AGM and passed. Work was done on it last year. The information such as age verification is not proprietary, confidential, or personal. Information such as mandatory age verification that is collected under the Animal Health Act should not be released without the producer's consent, except for the specific purposes and to the specific parties named in the Animal Health Act. These conclusions suggest that CCIA should have the ability to restrict access to information that is collected under the Animal Health Act when the information is being used for marketing purposes and producers do not consent to its release. Response to the resolution was, producers clearly own proprietary information, but age verification is not proprietary. The legality of releasing mandatory age verification without a producer's consent is in doubt, but with a definitive determination that would have to be made by a court of law. Legal counsel for the government believes that sharing of this information for marketing purposes is allowed by the Animal Health Act. And currently, the government of Alberta has made submission of age verification information to CCIA mandatory. It is CCIA that is choosing to release this information to industry people as it has done for years. So the information above shows that ABP has done due diligence on this request from last year. ABP is continuing to encourage CCIA to seek producers' consent before releasing age verification information for marketing purposes. ABP is also strongly encouraging the government of Alberta to eliminate mandatory age verification to allow the market to set the value and the need. If age verification became voluntary, producers would have more control over the information. We're now being pressed into taking legal action on this matter, but the question is, what legal action should be taken against who? Currently, the only information being shared for marketing purposes is age verification, and CCIA is the one doing the sharing. Is it responsible to use producers' money to take legal action against our own organization? Do we want to risk losing control of the cattle identification system by attacking CCIA? If we look beyond age verification, we can't take legal action against somebody who may share some information at some time in the future. It's not the basis for a sound legal case. So in conclusion, I believe ABP has taken strong action in response to a very similar resolution, and we're continuing to work on addressing the underlying issues that have led to it. Don't think it's responsible to use producer funds or ABP resources to take legal action at this time. We want to resolve the issue, but I don't think that legal action at this time creates any benefits.
Okay. Any further debate? I'll remind you, I just handed Ernie the clock.
John, you're awful close.
I saw your finger.
And don't get me wrong, we don't want to limit your discussion and your debate, but just for orderly purposes. Go ahead, Rick.
When I read this resolution, this one this year and the one in the previous year, nowhere did I see the word age verification in there. The second comment I would have, CCIA is our organization. I have a lot of producers in our zone really debate me on that. They don't think it is our organization. And I guess thirdly, we do have legal counsel, and I wonder if she could be called upon for a comment or has any input on this issue.
So you're asking for information?
Correct.
And clarify for me, please, what information? About the proprietary information?
That's correct. And I'm not sure if Amy would have anything, because if I knew as much as she did, I'd be a lawyer too.
Okay, thanks for the extra stuff. Adrian, do you have anything to add that would be of value?
This resolution is too vague to be dealt with through legal action because you have to first determine what information is deemed to be proprietary. Not all information is proprietary, so like a court would have to know what pieces of information you want to tag with the word proprietary in order to make a decision. So it's, I don't know what to add. Like the question is, if it's proprietary information, yes, you shouldn't be able to share it. But the real question is, what is proprietary information?
Okay, thank you. Any further debate? Does the mover wish to close? Ted?
I guess in a public meeting a few things were mentioned. I mentioned that it was stated that, when we accept age verification, then it will be easier to get the next piece of information. And things like the health protocols perhaps will become mandatory, or, it could be something like that. And I don't have an exhaustive list of what those things might be. But the concern is that we could continue to be bombarded by them, and we think that if we can somehow throw a roadblock up now, it might be easier to do now than somewhere farther down the road. We can't predict what that erosion will be, but we'd like to be able to weaken any attack that might come in the future on what we would consider to be proprietary information. The comment was made about CCIA being our own organization, and Rick commented that there's quite a few in our zone that wonder if in fact they are. We believe they started out that way. If they are our organization, ABP has requested formally that they cease and desist with access to age verification information. And so if they were our organization, perhaps they would follow our direction, and they haven't chosen to do so yet. Our representation on CCIA, representation from ABP, is also the chair, and so as chair, I don't know that he's really representing ABP, but doing his job as chair and being, CCIA is his most important responsibility. So we have cattle feeders, but the other people on CCIA probably feel that this is an Alberta issue because they haven't got mandatory age verification, and they wonder where this is coming from. Quebec does have mandatory age verification, and they are on CCIA. They have a supported price, as we heard earlier today, well supported, mostly from transfer payments from Alberta taxpayers. But so again, I guess we just wonder if CCIA really is our organization. We think we need something to stop this. We're worried about a continual attack, and thank you. I urge you to vote in favor.
Thank you, Ted. Okay, we'll reread the resolution. Be it resolved that ABP determine the issue of who owns producers' proprietary information, the legality of reducing producers' information, and through definitive legal means. All those in favor of the resolution? Hands high, guys, we're counting. Okay. All those opposed to the resolution? No two hands either, Edge. The resolution is defeated.